Hey, what's going on, you guys? Theo here with the big review yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And today I wanted to go ahead and cover a topic that has been brought up to me by a couple of people wondering how I am able to get so many of the attack, defense, and HP capsules for my characters. So as you can see here, I have either over 200 or close to 200 of every single one of these, and that is after using a good portion of them on Dellins and Eileene in the past week. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of cover that for everybody because I feel like there are a lot of people out there that may or may not know about this and may be missing these as a result. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to take a look at Eileene today, doing a little bit of bossing, just kind of taking a look at her damage. I've been doing a lot of testing with her and kind of checking out how she does against different bosses, and just to kind of get prepped for the big review coming up at the end of the week for her. So we're going to take a look at all that today, but first I want to get into the capsule situation because I know that for a lot of people that is one of the toughest resources to mine and get a hold of, as well as obviously keep a decent amount of stored up for new characters. So we're going to take a look at the most reliable way to farm them, and there isn't an amazing way to do this as far as farming goes, but in Epic Quest there is actually a really good way of doing it that a lot of people I feel like may or not know. So let's start there, and then we'll be moving on to the Eileene damage showcase in a couple of these boss runs. So I'll see you guys here in a second. Alright, you guys, so basically we're here in the Epic Quest, and if you go to your daily tab in any of the story modes, you'll be able to pick up these purple EPO final tickets, and you'll want to pick those up every single day in every single chapter in order to farm this way. But basically we'll go in, and what you'll be able to do here is you'll be able to possibly get capsule drops from farming these tickets, and then when you go to cash them in, which we'll take a look at afterward, in the boss fights, you'll be guaranteed capsule drops. So typically what I do is I'll obviously farm through these purple tickets every single day on auto. As you can see here, it's pretty easy to do even if your characters aren't as maxed out as mine, and you'll just go ahead and you'll farm capsules that way. Now, like I said, here you'll be able to get a couple at a time typically when you're farming the actual tickets, but then you're guaranteed capsule drops. Like here you see 2 for getting this ticket here, which again are not guaranteed, but you will see them a fairly decent amount of time. But when it comes to the actual bossing, you will be guaranteed those drops, and it can differ. You might get 1, you might get a couple. I've had as many as I believe 3 capsule drops on 1 clear of the bosses. So it's definitely worth doing every day, specifically because capsules can be very tough to come by. So my recommendation is just to kind of auto through each one of these. It only takes a few minutes a day. I realize it's adding more to the daily grind, but it is worth it because you will definitely need those capsules. You can never have enough of them. So we'll kind of go through here and take a look, and as you can see, both these modes will give them. In fact, we'll look at this one here, go down and check it out. It should still be under the regular daily tab like the rest of them, and there you go. So you just kind of go through, do this every day. I know it gets a little bit boring and monotonous, but again, for me, it's one of those things. I just put it on auto, do it every day, and then when I have about 30-40 of those tickets saved up, I'll go through, put it on auto on those bosses, and I will get at minimum about 30 or 40 of the capsules, and it's random on which ones you'll get. There's no way to guarantee yourself if you're looking for specifically attack, defense, or HP caps. There's no way to control that, but I will get at least 1 for every single one of those clears. So yeah, it's the most reliable way to do it. Now there are specific areas in the story mode. I know that some people like to auto farm through, sometimes overnight or what have you, but when it comes to guaranteeing yourself these items, this is absolutely the best way of going about it, in my opinion. I know a lot of people kind of get bored of Epic Quest. I know for me, I have neglected this mode admittedly a lot. I kind of just try to do the bare minimum, but when it comes to my capsule farm game, I am definitely on point. I try to do this every single day without fail and add it to my daily grind, which I know a lot of people hate the daily grind. A lot of people have complained that it takes too long to get through your dailies in this game, but it is definitely worth it in my opinion because these items are specifically very important toward maxing out your characters. It's very hard to get very far, and you really don't get a good gauge of what the capabilities are of a specific character without them. So you'll definitely want to go through here, get these every single day, like I said, but I just wanted to kind of go through and show you guys that. Now we can actually go ahead and take a look at the bosses and see those drops real quick, and we'll do that on the other side. Alright, you guys, so let's go ahead and cash some of these tickets in here. As you can see, I have 30 right now, and I don't even think I have finished all of my dailies yet, but as you can see, this is where you'll be able to get the guaranteed capsule drops when you cash these tickets in. We'll go ahead and do a couple of these and use Dellins, kind of kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, and show off some Dellins in this bossing and EQ, which it doesn't really matter. He's going to ruin anything he touches anyway, but might as well just use him. But when we finish these runs here, you'll be able to see the guaranteed capsule drops from these bosses. Shouldn't take very long to get through this. I haven't done it with Dellins yet, so this will actually be kind of interesting, even though, like I said, it really doesn't take much to get through these bosses. They're pretty easy as long as you've been working on your epic quest game. But I'm at some point going to work on a epic quest guide for clearing these bosses with the lower cost units. I actually had somebody, I believe it was on Reddit, ask me to do so, so I'll go ahead and do that here probably in the next week whenever I can get a chance to sit down and get some footage together of that. I've cleared 99% of those already. As you can see there's our first capsule drop from our first run. It's a HP cap, and then we'll do one more here. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get more than one on this drop, but typically when these drop, you're only going to get one or two, sometimes three of any specific capsule. I don't recall ever getting two different kinds of capsules off of a single run. It's usually just the one kind, so keep that in mind. But again, I know a lot of people don't really talk about this. I think that a lot of people therefore don't know it exists. I know a lot of the seasoned players like myself, the veterans, have been doing this religiously, but if you're ever wondering how people are able to keep their capsules up so high, a lot of it is boiling down to doing this every day. So there you go, there's an attack capsule, and there you have it. So do this every day. This will definitely go a long way over time for you. I know it's a bit of a grind, but it is worth it. Like I said, these capsules are never not handy. So moving on from here, collect this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at some Eileene footage that I recorded. See you on the other side. Alright, you guys, so as you can see here, we are on tier 23 of the memory dungeon, as I like to call it, but basically we're going to do a little bit of bossing with Eileene here, so you guys can get an idea of what I'm working with as I record footage for the upcoming big review for this lady, the thick lady herself, the Queen, Eileene. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, the overall CP requirement for the 23rd stage was about 61,000, 62,000, so this is where you start to get into what separates the boys from the men, as it were. But as you can see here, nothing about boys, it's all about the girls here, with Eileene and Lady Maxima, or Maxine as I lovingly call her, just tear through this wave before we get to the boss. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this, Eileene does have her faults, and I'm not going to get too much into those until we get into the review. She's definitely not Dellins, we'll put it that way. He is almost faultless. He has, of course, his downsides, but he is darn near perfect, whereas Eileene does have some drawbacks. And you might even be able to kind of tell in this video, none of her abilities can interrupt each other, so it makes it kind of tough, because once she commits to an ability, she doesn't really have the chance to kind of back off and either kind of get herself out of bad positioning or to save herself. She's stuck in those animations, and they do tend to run a little long. The quickest one being her S3, which is her lightning strike, her nuke. But when it comes to her 2, that one tends to be kind of iffy. And then her first attack is instant to cast, but it isn't something you can cancel out of once you've cast it. So, but overall, however, with the amount of damage she outputs, I feel like that was maybe a balancing tactic because she does nuke so hard. As you can see, she just takes chunks off of this boss. And if you guys are anything like me, and you are getting to these upper tiers when it comes to this particular mode, this boss does tend to get a bit annoying. He hits very hard. Eileene can take a hit. I mean, she's definitely not going to be a tank by any stretch of the imagination. She is another attack type, being a purple attack type, but at the same time, I feel like she is able to take a couple of hits. You just have to be a little bit cautious with her, just like any kind of squishy glass cannon type of character. But we're getting ready to take this guy down. We'll go ahead and switch to Maxine here, and then we'll bring in Eileene to see how fast we can bring down that last bar or bar and a half or so of health. So one of the nice things about Eileene is she does have a bit of a long animation on this special, and both of her specials go ahead and reset her cooldowns, which is fantastic. It helps her to kind of keep the pressure on after she's used her finishers. If she does hit a finisher, typically it's enough to kill whatever it touches, but in these modes where it's not necessarily going to do that, she is very, very good to have, because as you can see here, all of our skills were on cooldown. We're going to use our nuke, and then we'll be able to just jump right back in and keep the damage pouring on. So she is a very good character for these kinds of modes, but she does have her downsides. I just wanted to kind of give you guys that little brief tease of what is to come on Sunday with the big review, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.